Welcome to Cross the Line Sports. My name is Carlos Smith. We have another very special guest with us here at the SWAC Media Day Conference. We have the Executive Director of Orange Blossom Classic, Miss Kendra Bulluck. Kendra, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. So coming up, we have a very big event, the Orange Blossom Classic, like we were stating, North Carolina Central and Alabama State. Can you talk about the event and like the excitement that's been building around it?
Well, we're excited. This is year 4 of the return of the Orange Blossom Classic. Previous 3 years, we've had Florida A&M University and Jackson State University. And so this year, we've got new teams on the gridiron, but still the same exciting experience around the Classic itself. So we're looking forward to the new matchup, looking forward to what we have just learned today, that Alabama State is potentially, is ranked to be number 1 in the conference. So that's huge because the past 3 years, we have had FAMU and Jackson State who have been on top of the conference. So I think we're continuing in that same tradition.
Absolutely. Now, clearly, I would automatically assume that the criteria to be, you had to be an HBCU to be in the Classic. Are there any other type of, is there any other type of criteria that you have to be in this game?
So not so much criteria as there are certain things that we look at when we are putting together these matchups. One of them is the size of the school and the fan base and how they are received as far as their ability to travel and to be a draw and bring fans into the stadium. We look at travel distance. We look at, because we're in Florida, we look at how the schools have, if there's a connection, so to speak, with the state of Florida that will make their fan base want to travel. And we just look at overall the marketability. And so those things for these two schools, like I said, with Alabama State, we know even last year, being number 3 in the conference, and then looking at how North Carolina Central in 2022 won the Celebration Bowl and how they were predicted going into 23 to win the Celebration Bowl. So only coming in number 2 behind Howard, they being at the top of their conference, right? So we looked at the fact that we have 2 teams that are, for the most part, on the top of their conferences who have a potential to draw. And anytime you get a chance to come to South Florida, it's a great recruiting opportunity. Anytime you have a chance to come to South Florida, Labor Day weekend, holiday, it's
always a good time.
Right, it's fun for the fan base. So it's a lot of things that this game provides that I think people can be excited about.
Absolutely. Now this is going to be the 4th year that you said, am I correct?
Correct.
What was it that you all saw that was like a necessity? We need to put together an event like this for HBCUs. What was it that you saw in the market that potentially said you wanted to put this type of event together?
Because, someone told me last night, they said we don't just put on football games, we're storytellers, right? Like we have the opportunity to tell our own story about the importance and the significance of HBCUs. And so I thought it was important to bring this game specifically to South Florida because at the time when we talked about bringing this game back, we did not have HBCU football in Miami. And so me personally, I grew up around HBCUs, grew up around HBCU football, being from North Carolina. I attended a lot of classics. North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central was a huge, rival. And then the East Carolina Classic. There were just so many events that, my mom attended Shaw University, so I grew up going to her homecomings. And so that was something that was missing when we were when I was in Florida, in Miami, and I just felt like it was something that our kids needed to see, experience that culture right there in your backyard so that when it's time to decide where you want to go to school, you have a more informed decision.
Absolutely. Now, correct me if I'm wrong now, so the game is being played in Florida.
Correct, in Miami.
I was looking at the flyer and the address right here is Montgomery, Alabama. What's the?
Oh, so this is the stadium box office. If you're in Montgomery, there are tickets available at. So that's one of Alabama State's flyers. So if you're in Montgomery, you can walk up to their box office and purchase tickets. But the game itself is in Miami, Florida, Hard Rock Stadium. You can go to the school's box offices. You can go online to Ticketmaster.com and purchase tickets. But the game is being played in Miami. And
it looks like it's like a full weekend of like events that's going on. You got the kickoff, you got the Battle of the Bands, and then of course the actual game.
Right.
Was that the ideal initial? Looking back at the very first one that you all put together, was it just the game, and then you say, you know what, this is so huge that we need to turn it into a full weekend event, or how was it?
So we actually always started with the week of festivities, and once you come out of the gate hard like that, the expectation is there to keep it going. So that first year when we came back in 2021, we had our parade, we had our Battle of the Bands. We have what we call our reunion on the yard, which is like just a big kind of fan fest, and then we have the pregame fan fest the day of the game. So we have our scholarship fundraising luncheon. So there were a lot of events that we started with in 2021, and thank God we've been able to keep those events going, keep the tradition going. So yeah, it is, a classic is so much bigger than a football game.
Man, I honestly can tell you the very first experience that I had with the HBCU. I went to school at USC Upstate, and the very first experience that I had with at HBCU was South Carolina State. So Orangeburg was about 2 hours from Spartanburg, and one of my best friends, he played football at South Carolina State. So we went down for homecoming, and to let you know I had a good time down there. Both of my daughters, their mom went to school at South Carolina State, so I met her down there. So they let you know, man, I had a great time at South Carolina State. But just the overall the environment and just the atmosphere, like I tell everybody, it's nothing like attending the HBCU. Like I didn't go to school there, but just like the homecoming, it was just like such a big family reunion that I could only imagine what it would be like to attend there on an everyday basis. Yep. And it's just like that experience is just like being around your own people.
That's right.
I think growing up for me, and I'll ask you this as well. Would you say there is a misperception of HBCU? Because I think for me growing up, I just wasn't educated on it enough. And then sometimes I know South Carolina State had some issues at certain times with the funding. And I remember my daughter's mom saying at times they could lose accreditation, or they might close certain things because of the lack of funding. So those type of things, like not being educated on it enough and hearing those type of things, it may scare you away from it. But would you say there's like a misperception of HBCUs?
So I do believe that there is a misperception. So yes, I think that there are some challenges that HBCUs face as it relates to funding, as it relates to having certain resources that a lot of our larger, that their, PWIs don't have. But what I tell people is that there is something way more valuable when it comes to teaching your children, teaching students how to do so much more with less, right? So you can attend a PWI and everything could be in place, but then when you look at overall what statistics show, we do a career fair every year, and we work with different companies that come in to look for their HR departments, come in to recruit talent, and they look for talent that come from HBCUs. And when you look at the numbers and look at statistics, what it shows is that our HBCU graduates typically are way more prepared to enter the workforce than a lot of PWIs. And the reason being is because you have to learn how to manage so many things. I will take someone who knows how to manage, like I said, manage more with less than I would someone who has been handed everything. And, if you give me a Bentley, of course I can drive it and take care of it, and but give me, give me a Hyundai, right? And then I know I'm going to take care of it. I know that I might have a little bit more challenges, but I'm going to make sure I stay on top of my oil changes. I'm going to make sure I do certain things. So there is still, even with all of the challenges that HBCUs face, and and those are conversations that we have to have as far as how do we get those resources to HBCUs. But even with those challenges, we're educating at the top level. We're preparing our students to enter the real world.
Absolutely.
And that's an invaluable experience that I wouldn't trade for anything.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about our people in general. It's like we've always, even with less, operated in excellence. No matter what you gave us in the past, we always operate in the excellence. And like you said, I've been blessed to sit with athletes and entrepreneurs, older entrepreneurs, and they would talk about the times where they grew up before integration, and they would always tell us, back then we we had to have our own because we had our own doctors, lawyers, grocery stores. We had our own mechanics. We always had these things anyway. So and we always had, no matter what you gave us, we operated in excellence.
That's right.
And so it's like I would love, of course. It's always great to go get opportunities where you can, but also, you can still get those things and not look at HBCU and not look at anything black. It's like lacking quality. Like we still excel and operate in excellence no matter what you give us.
And we know that they love exactly what we do because, let's be honest, they often try to duplicate the culture, right? So
all the time.
You all want the rhythm, but you don't necessarily want the blues.
Absolutely.
So that tells us, I always say that the best form of flattery is copying, right?
Yep.
So if that's the case, we know that we have something that they like, something that they look forward to because we do it differently.
All the time. And like I said, it's nothing like this. These type of experiences.
Yeah.
What the thing I was going to ask you was when you're out recruiting and having these events, what are you pitching to young men and women about attending HBCU? What are the things that you try to sell them on?
So with the Orange Blossom Classic, we're able to give them the experience. So it kind of speaks for itself. When you bring together people where you are the majority and you add to that, the excitement, the nightlife, when you add to that, there is excellence. There are people who genuinely care about your overall well-being. You're not just a number. You're not just a student. And so it's really not even a sale, so to speak. It is just, if you're able to be there, come, attend, and it sells itself.
Absolutely.
It sells itself.
Like I was sharing with you, I didn't attend the HBCU, but now, being a part of these type of environments and experiences, I want to be a part of helping highlight these type of things that you guys have going on. Did you attend HBCU or were you on just saw growing up what it just brought to our culture?
So I just saw it growing up. I actually did not. I did not attend an HBCU, and everyone in my family did. I was the only one that did not, and so this has been my way of kind of going back to my roots, going back to my childhood, knowing what I've grown up with. So I've sent my son now to an HBCU. He grew up saying that he was gonna, turn away from all of these PWIs and he was gonna, attend an HBCU. So it's something that was, instilled in me. I kind of chose a different path, but made sure that I got, my offspring back on the right path. And it's something that I enjoyed, and I felt like, give everybody an opportunity to make an informed decision, but at least you have to be able to have that in your face to be able to decide. You can't decide on something that you really know nothing about. Absolutely. So my goal, as I'm sure you understand too, is to bring it to them so that they can decide, because an HBCU might not be for everyone. Correct. But at least you have the opportunity to see exactly what your options are and make the most informed decision.
And even if you do have to go elsewhere, it's okay to go do that, and then you can always bring those resources back. That's something that I was a very close person to me told me, you might have to go home, leave home and go somewhere, but you can always bring those resources back.
That's
so
right.
No matter what you do, it's still a great thing to get
listen,
back.
They don't turn it away because you didn't.
Exactly.
Right.
That is correct.
No,
right.
We'll still take it.
A couple of questions about this event right here. How long does it take to put something like this together?
It's year round. It's year round. As soon as we kick off September 1st, Labor Day weekend, we'll take a week off, and then we'll be right back in the lab preparing for 25.
So it's just one event, Orange Classic, that you put together just once a year, or is it something that you might have like a bowl game during the bowl season, or is it just this one event?
So the game itself is that one game, but then of course there are a week of events around the game, but then we have smaller events throughout the year leading up to the game.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. You make me want to go attend it as well.
Listen, it's an experience. It is, and it's not just for the teams who are in the game. Like I said, we're HBCU. Pride, culture collide. So we welcome everybody.
What's some of your favorite moments from these events when you when you put it together, then you're actually in the presence of it all. What are some of your favorite moments from the event?
That's so. I think I love all of them, but if I had to choose my favorite, it would be the game itself. Like all of the events are wonderful. Like I said, we have our luncheon, we have our Battle of the Bands, but I am really, really about the student athlete experience. And so to be able to have our kids come into an NFL stadium, to have our kids, experience something that they may not otherwise be able to experience, to see them run out and warm up on the field, to see, I'm a stickler for our pregame show. My staff will tell you I love our pregame show. So to hear the national anthem and to hear the Black national anthem and to see the flag and to, be able to hear the teams, give their pregame locker room speeches and just get these kids excited and well prepared to play. I think the game itself is, I would say, is my favorite moment.
Outside of the game, the one thing that I do have to get around to attending is like the Battle of the Bands. Because covering South Carolina State and going to those games, and I hear the 101 band, and when they perform, man, I don't care what anybody say, it's nothing like a HBCU band. Nothing touches it at all.
Yes.
The way they perform at halftime, homecoming, everything, it's literally like one of the best experiences that you can ever have.
Yes.
And like I said, I love everything about it.
Yes.
So I'm definitely looking forward to Labor Day weekend. We got to find a way. I know RJ gonna be at South Carolina State. They got a lot going on, but man, I would love to attend this event.
I think the South Carolina State will be in Tallahassee.
Yeah, they play. They play FAMU. So
yeah, but that's on Saturday, so y'all can still come out. Our game is on Sunday.
Man, that's good.
Yeah, so there are flights leaving Tallahassee.
You trying to have us partying all way?
Listen, well, so because FAM has been in our game the past 3 years, I have had people tell me, hey, listen, Saturday night we're flying into Miami, so we will be there on Sunday. So so they won't be the only ones leaving there and heading over to Miami.
It's gonna be a great time. So Ms. Bulluck, thank you for your time. For people who want to just keep up with it and follow this event leading up to the special day, special weekend, how can they follow you and support?
On social media, they can find us at Orange Blossom FC. FC is for Football Classic, so Orange Blossom FC. And then our website is www.orangeblossomclassic.com.
Absolutely. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this interview. If you haven't, please get out to an HBCU and support. It will be one of the best times if you have. Until next time, keep chasing dreams. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Contact the professionals over at Marcus Mounts for all your TV mounting and assembly needs. The Upstate's #1 mounting company with over 4,000 TVs installed. Clean, precise, and affordable. Marcus Mounts TV Mounting Company. Contact us today for an online or over the phone quote.